everybody, welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing this 1970 Ford Torino for the December 4 Horsemen build. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a few weeks late, and I do apologize. I kind of had a brain fart with this thing, didn't know what I was going to do with it. So why don't we head on down to the range, and let's see what I did. You know, this casting I got from Eddie P, the godfather of diecast. You guys know him on Instagram and stuff like that. He sent this to me. I already had a casting for this, but not a Hot Wheels casting. And it said 70 Torino. And I think everybody thought about the 72 Torino that was the mainline Fast and the Furious car. But, well, I went out and actually looked for a 1970 Torino because that's what year it said. So I wanted to be a little more accurate. And the theme is Mad Max. Yes, one of my favorite types of builds. You guys know me for my haulers and stuff like that, my Mad Max haulers. Well, this one is not going to be a hauler. I'll tell you that right now. At first, I wanted to go simple with it. But you guys know me. I'm never simple. I don't do like a quick build. I got to do something. I got to modify something. Change something out, whatever the case may be. You guys know how I work. You know, it's an M2 casting, I think, or a Johnny Lightning or something like that. I can't remember the exact casting of it, but I knew, for example, I was going to take all the bumpers and all the headlight stuff off because I knew eventually I was going to weather them, or I wasn't going to use them, one of the two. But I ended up using them, so I just weathered them out. And you'll see a little bit more when I do my weathering technique, but unfortunately you don't get to see me weather the car because at the time I thought I was recording me doing the weathering effects. I actually was not recording. Those of you know me, yeah, you can chalk it up to one of those moments. But you know, I ended up, like saying, you know what? It's all right. I like giving everybody suspense of what this thing's going to look like. And boy, did it turn out good. It really turned out really good, and I was really happy with it. I ended up drilling some holes because at first I was going to attempt to cut out the trunk lid and both doors. But I ended up going through the point where I couldn't really get a good angle at cutting the doors. So I went ahead and just cut one. Drilled holes for the, I guess, some kind of roll bar to hold, windscreen in place. But I ended up using some window mesh to put on the back to cover this window. I used a lot of, not a lot, but a little more mesh than what I usually do. And I wanted it a certain way. I kind of wanted a certain look to it. And I went through a couple engines before I found out what engine I was going to do with it. I had already had this cleaned up, stripped out. And, it's been a while. I've been sitting on this build for about a week now. Maybe a little more than a week. But I just could not get any ideas going in my head, so I kind of wasn't really sure what all I wanted to do with it. And then I guess it suddenly hit me. I was like, I gotta get up, I gotta finish that build. I know everybody's been wanting to see it, see what I did. Come on, it's Tom and Mad Max. Everybody likes Tom's Mad Max cars. So I wanted to start off the new year and went ahead and put this down for my beginning video for the new year, my first video of the new year. Technically it's last year's video, but you guys know the idea. So I wanted to go pretty cool with this Mad Max style. I wanted to go off-road style suspension, off-road style wheels, kind of give it that off-road kind of speed demon kind of look. And it literally looks exactly like I was hoping it was going to. The weathering and the paint and everything turned out really good. I got all my stuff from my 2K clear, but I didn't need to worry about 2K clear for this because I just used Rattlecam matte clear. So that kind of eliminated a lot of problems. because like I don't have any matte 2K clear or 2K clear, whatever it's called. I just got the gloss kind, I think. It was sent to me for as a Christmas present. I appreciate the one person that sent that to me. Thank you, much appreciated. Um, like you guys know me, I'm not gonna really talk with the video too much, except certain parts. But you guys see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of outlining the door because I'm gonna be putting a mesh screen style movable door on here, and I'm going to be putting moving parts on this thing, but only one, and it's just the door because it sets up so high compared to actual person that needs some way to climb up into the car, so the door will drop down and be used as like a ladder / door. And you'll see that here in a few minutes. But getting it just right, I didn't really want to make it look perfect because it's a Mad Max car. Nothing's supposed to look like it's welded perfect or bent perfect or anything like that. So that's kind of what I was going with this, just kind of going from there. And where I cut it actually was a perfect length, like from everything that I was doing, straightening it out, folding it, and apparently I had just enough of the brass rod to when I turned it to fold it in to have a place for it to actually move. It was a perfect length for it. Like honestly, it was like right on the money pretty much. I only had to do a little bit of trimming to kind of bring it in closer because I wanted to put some kind of moving piece on it. So, wanted to I didn't have a lot of armor pieces left. I still got to get some more armor pieces. I kind of forgot to order that. But I used what armor pieces I had and stuff that I had from 3D printed parts. I used some of those pieces for like steel plates, just kind of giving it that armored look. And I really thought about putting I got bullet hole decals, but I thought about nah, I don't want to put no decals on it. I'm just gonna make it look like it was freshly brought off of the assembly lot. They just pulled it out of their garage, and they wanted to get it on the road. Well, I used it. It's been a while since I've used Instaset, so I was kind of doing what I could with it, just trying to get things going a little bit quicker on this because I wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to get the video footage, and I put a new memory card, a bigger memory card in my car or my phone, so I got a little bit more space now. So I should be able to have no problems doing multiple videos at one time. Hopefully, I'm hoping. But I wanted to make sure everything worked just fine. Like the door would come open and close, even with the paint on it, and it does. It's perfect for what it needs to be doing. And I knew I was going to be putting some kind of cross member. I just didn't know how I was going to have it. If I was going to have it diagonally or whatever it was. But I had this engine. I can't remember what it came from. I put a 50 caliber machine gun on the front because it was a speed car. It wasn't meant to do some heavy damage. It was just made to shoot and take off. And honestly, with this little Torino, I think it looks really good. It's made to look fast. It really is, especially with the wheels and the suspension kind of that I used for it. And you'll see a little bit further on towards the end of the video of me actually weathering the suspension. Because like I said, I'm kind of trying to keep you guys, in the loop, but not in the loop. So you guys kind of are surprised, kind of like how I did the Batmobile Jeep. You guys didn't know it was going to be a monster truck until the very end of the video. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do now is, just trying to see what all I can do to this. And I already had the base kind of so put together at this time, I already knew it was going to line up and everything, so I didn't really have to worry about that. The height of it, I knew it was fine, so the wheels that I picked were going to be fine. So, just trying to pick and choose what little armor pieces I want. I'm trying something a little different, where the armor goes, how it's, set up to where, all I really kind of have to do is just do a little bit of paint, and paint was simple. I did a silver style base, then I went over with aluminum color, and then I went over with a desert tan on just like around the base. And then around the rest of it, I just weathered the crap out of it. I put a lot of rust spots. I put a lot of soot spots where like the engine was blowing smoke or something. So the paint was pretty simple. Like I didn't really do anything special, like do the paint peel effect with the salt. I didn't do any of that. You know, I just kind of wanted to just kind of make it look like it was fresh. Like it wasn't sitting for a while. It was just pulled out of the welder, or, you know, the workshop, the chop shop, whatever they want to call it. And what I'm doing with the mesh is I'm cutting it in a different way instead of how it's supposed to be, because I want it to kind of look like diamonds going across the front of it instead of squares. So I kind of angled it, cut it to a certain width and everything, made sure it would fit my front windshield area, and to make sure that I had a piece big enough for the door. Because I wanted, like I said, I wanted to use mesh. You know, I didn't want to use a lot of it, but I wanted to use most of what I had. And just making sure I had everything set up. Instead of cutting it, I went ahead and glued it on to where it needed to go. And then when the glue dried, I took my scissors and I trimmed around the edge of the door, so it kind of gives it that it's welded on kind of look. And, you know, I really like how it turned out. I really do. After I got done with this, I ended up putting a cross member on the side of it for the door to kind of give it a little more stable look, I guess, to where it's more supported, I should say. And all in all, that did really good. It really did. You know, the hardest part was just trying to make sure everything stayed together for when it was time for paint. And, you know, I went subtle. You know, it was pretty simple paint. You know, pretty easy to do. Had a little clog in my airbrush, so I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting a lot of airflow. And then when I took it apart, cleaned it real good, ran some pipe cleaners through it, and I pulled out a big old chunk of, well, not a huge chunk, but a pretty good size of, like, paint buildup. And I was like, well, that explains a lot. And this is an engine I took off of a fantasy car. I can't remember what it was, but I didn't use it for an engine like I was originally planning on it. I used it like more like a fuel cell that sits on the back of the car. So I kind of trimmed it up, made it to where it looked like it would fit on the back, and it looked literally like some kind of fuel cell is sitting on the trunk lid of the car. And it's going down through the mesh or the chain guard or whatever they want to call it, chain link, whatever. But I wanted to give it that look, and that's the kind of look I was going for. I wasn't trying to go like all fancy with it, you know, running hoses or anything like that through it. It doesn't really have any exhaust. It's more like an open header exhaust, so it's got a hole in the side of the car where it could be where the gas don't, you know, or the fumes don't soak up on the inside and the interior. So it's got a little vent hole. Okay. That just sounds weird. But, you know, I wanted to give it that kind of look. You know, I know you guys are used to seeing me with these bulked up wheels and stuff like that, but you never know what I'm going to do. And that's the one thing about my builds is, you know, I say I do something and I'll change it up on you guys. You're like, oh, I was looking forward to this build. Oh, sorry, you know, kind of stuff happens and I changed. I'm sorry. But, you know, I figured this would have been a better build. And usually it was. But I'm going to try to stick with, like, my newer builds. And I'm also going to try to give you, like, a preview of what kind of car I'll be using for the next build or something like that. I'm not going to do it starting with this video because it's technically the 4 Horsemen build. But I think what I'm going to do is actually start doing like a little bit of video footage of what car or what vehicles or what's something I'm going to be doing on my next video, so I can kind of get an idea on what I'm going to do. And I'm going to eventually get a little dry erase board and I'm going to write down, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this, and, you know, just kind of trying to keep track of what I'm doing. And you guys can see that, you know, I weathered up my base. You know, I'm getting ready to fix up the interior. I'm going to cut off what I don't need. And kind of, I want to cut off this extra seat because I didn't really see a point to it. So I cut out this extra seat, and actually cut pretty good this time around. And I wanted to put like some kind of skull in it and stuff like that. Right now, it's kind of sitting off to the side, just like, I had a bunch of them just sitting there, and I just like, what, I need to put a skull on something. I haven't put a skull on anything in a while. So I decided to try to make some kind of shifter or something like that. And the way I did, it doesn't look exactly like I was hoping it was going to, but it doesn't look too bad. When you open the door, you'll be able to see it. It looks like it's going to be looking right at you when you open up the little door on the side. So I wanted to get it going. So I took this and I actually painted it a rust color because I was going to give it a more of like a muddy look. So why don't we go ahead and head out, check out what we started off with. It's Johnny Lightning, green light. I can't remember what kind of 1974 Torino this was. Nice little car, good little freaking car. Honestly, I think I want to try to do something pretty spiffy with one of these later on down the road. Like some kind of drag car or something. But I really like this casting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So without further ado, let's check out the final results.